Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are new around here on the road to 7,000 subscribers. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments down below on today's video. And let's dive straight into it, guys. I'm going to be talking about how many points Chelsea are going to need from the next 4 Premier League games leading up to the next international break in October, and whether Champions League qualification is already in danger after just 4 games of the season. If we pull the table up now, guys, it doesn't make great reading after the first 4 rounds of fixtures. We currently sit in a familiar position of 12th in the table. Obviously, 1 win against Luton Town from our first 4 games with a draw and 2 defeats. Doesn't make the best of reading. Already, we are 6 points off Champions League qualification at this early stage of the season. And with the Premier League so competitive this time around, you really can't be affording to drop points on a regular basis, because already after 4 games, we're 6 points behind. We don't want to allow that to become much more. The Premier League's so competitive now with the likes of your Brightons, your Newcastles, your Brentford's, even maybe a team like West Ham have started really well. Spurs have started very well. There's so many teams that are going to be fighting for those Champions League spaces that if you drop points, then you're going to be bang in trouble already at this very early stage of the season. So it's vital after the first 4 games, that these next 4 games before we go away on international duty again, we get as many points as possible to get ourselves as close to those Champions League places as possible, and try not to lose any further ground on the teams that we are competing with. Because we start to do that and 6 points over the next 4 games maybe becomes 8-10 points, then already, like, before you even get to November, like, you're thinking, fuck, are we even going to be able to qualify for the Champions League? And you haven't even had half the season yet. So already we are in a really critical stage of the season where we must begin to pick results up and fast and get those points on the board fast. It's all very well, the underlying numbers look good, and they do. We are topping the charts for a lot of positive statistics, but the only stat that matters is the scoreline. And too often already this season, we've been on the wrong end of that scoreline, despite having positive play in large parts of a lot of those games. Now, if I bring up the next 4 fixtures then, and for me, we thought the start was decent. These next 4 are again pretty decent fixtures if you look at it like this. I mean, Bournemouth away on Sunday, then we've got Aston Villa at home, Fulham away, and then Burnley away. We've got 3 away games in the next 4, and I actually feel that we are going to be better suited to playing away from home, because I think that teams are going to come out and play a little bit more, and there's going to be space in behind for us to exploit. And with the pacey players that we've got, the speed on the counter-attack through the likes of Jackson, your Mudryks, your Maduekes, Cole Palmers, the passing range of Enzo Fernandez in midfield, be able to put those balls over the top. I think we can have a lot of success away from home by using that tactic and exploiting other teams coming out and trying to play a bit more against us. So that's why I don't worry about us too much away from home. I think that the game against Bournemouth tomorrow is going to be a tricky one. We don't have the best record there, but we did win there last season under Frank Lampard. Bournemouth are winless under their new manager so far this season as well, and they are playing a much higher line than they did so under Gary O'Neill. So it gives me confidence that if we get things right, and it's still a big if given the start to the season, that we can exploit Bournemouth there with our pace and pick them off and get a couple of goals and pick the win up. So for me, I think, look, we should be getting the 3 points in that Bournemouth game. When I look ahead to the Aston Villa game, though, that for me is where I worry a little bit. Obviously, I know Villa had a good window. They've started the season well, but they have had 2 heavy defeats on the road at Newcastle on the opening day, and then at Liverpool as well. They've not really been in either of those games at all. So there's still question marks about Villa away from home, but Chelsea at home has been a problem for a large amount of time now. Stamford Bridge used to be an absolute fortress. Now teams relish going there, and it's quite easy for them. And this is going to be a big task for Mauricio Pochettino, is to turn round our ailing fortunes at home, because we have not been a good side at home for a number of years now. We really struggle, particularly at Stamford Bridge, to break teams down. As soon as the teams they come, they sit deep, they get men behind the ball. We don't seem to have that urgency. We don't seem to move the ball quick enough. We seem to wait every time we get the ball in a promising position. We wait, and then we allow the team to get back into their defensive shape, and then we can't break them down. And if we go a goal down at home, it's virtually curtains for us. Simple as that. No faith in us to get back into the game, and no chance of winning if we go a goal down. I would say that anywhere we are right now, if we concede the first goal, I think at this point in time, we're bang unlikely to be winning a game. And that's really not a good position to be in. So we've got to find a bit of grit, a bit of steeliness, determination, not allow the heads to sink when we go a goal down, and show that we've got that fight and that determination to come back, and we can get out of difficult situations in games. So that home game against Villa next weekend, that's going to be a tough one, a real tough one. It's going to be a real test for us because, yes, Aston Villa aren't the best side, but, our home form's not the best either. So, look, if I put 3 points down at Bournemouth, and then obviously, I honestly do feel that home to Villa, I think the best we can do is get a point. I really don't feel confident going into that game with our home form. Obviously, Brighton in the cup is what it is. I'm not going to discuss that one. But then we go away to Fulham and Burnley back to back. Now, Fulham had a good season last season. Obviously, we lost there last year. Joao Felix Davey obviously got sent off. We know the story. Fulham definitely not as good this season. They've lost Alexander Mitrovic. They obviously just kept hold of João Palhinha. So, they've made some signings. Obviously, Iwobi's come in from Everton. They brought in Raul Jimenez from Wolves, who's not the same player he was after that injury. I think Fulham are a lot weaker than they were last year, personally, but the Cottage is still a tough place to go. And this one really could go either way. But if we're being serious about qualifying for the Champions League, then these are the places we need to be going to, and we need to be winning. So if I put 3 points there as well for me, because I think we will be better away from home and Fulham are weaker. And I think with the more games that go by, the better this team will get. We'll be more cohesive. We'll get more used to one another. So if I go 3 points Bournemouth, 1 at Villa, that's 4. We go 7 with a win at Fulham. And we go to Burnley away. Now, obviously, a lot can change in sort of 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks' time when we go to that fixture. But right now, the way that Burnley have started, they've not picked up win themselves other than in the Carabao Cup third round away at Forest. This should be a fairly straightforward 3 points if there's such a thing. Last time Burnley were in the Prem, we hammered them 4-1 up there. So I'm not saying I expect something similar, but we've seen Spurs go there and rip them apart 5-1 or 5-2. I'm not saying we're going to get that sort of scoreline, but this is a sort of fixture that you look at, and Chelsea shouldn't really be having any issues going to Burnley whatsoever. It should be a 3 points. And I know this is a simplistic way at looking at football, and that's not really how it works. But for me, for Chelsea to qualify and to get their Champions League qualification campaign on track before it's get it on track as quickly as possible, then for me, we need 10 points minimum from these next 4 games, because if we were to get less than that and lose 1, maybe get a draw as well, maybe only pick up 2 points, we could be 10 plus points off the Champions League places already. And then look at the fixtures after the October international break. Arsenal at Stamford Bridge, Brentford at the Bridge, Spurs away, City at home, Newcastle away, then Brighton at home, then Man United, then Everton away. This is a serious run up until Sheffield United at home. So that is why it's so important to get so many points on the board, because then in the space of a month, we've got Arsenal, Brentford, Spurs, City, Newcastle, and Brighton. That's why this little chunk here is so pivotal, and the first 4 games were so pivotal as well, because we've got a real tough run coming up. And that's why it's so disappointing that we've started the way that we have, because the matches don't get any easier. So for me, and this might sound ridiculous, and I know that I've said I fancy us to finish in the Champions League space, and I'm still going to stick by that because I think we will significantly improve. But we've got to get 10 points from these next 4 games minimum. Otherwise, that Champions League dream, which we so desperately need to get back into after the money spent and the players that we've bought in, that could already be looking like a big problem come the start of October. And we simply can't have that. So this is why this period's so crucial. And starting with Bournemouth on Sunday, this is a must-win game. We're in must-win territory already after 4 games, which is kind of mad. But given the start we've had, given the fact we're already 6 points off those Champions League places, these games are must-win. So for me, I'm predicting 10 points from the next 12. Whether that's going to happen or not, let's wait and see. But yeah, if we don't do that, guys, I already think Champions League qualification could be in big, big trouble. But yeah, guys, that's just my thoughts on the next 4 games. We need 10 points minimum. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and how many you think we get and what you're expecting. And please smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I'll catch you again in another video soon. Take care, up the Chelsea, and peace out.